What is up, you guys? Welcome to Aftershock, the World of Wrestling. I'm your host, Aaron, and today we're going to be doing Tuesday's TNA Impact Sacrifice. I don't know if you can call it Impact, but TNA Sacrifice. It was actually a really good show in my opinion, but I am a TNA soldier, so let's get right on into it, you guys. The show opened with Tyrus and Spud in the ring, telling Drew Galloway his time is up. Meaning his time of being the world champion is up, which leads us into Drew Galloway versus Tyrus, first match of the evening for the World Heavyweight title, which is actually kind of refreshing to see. It's not all that often you see a kickoff, not technically a kickoff match, but a first match on the card being for the world title. It's something fresh and exciting. So. Drew's ribs were wrapped up from the spears from Lashley a couple weeks ago. Tyrus tore all his bandages off. Spud got involved throughout the entire match. Tyrus kicked out of the Claymore boot, actually. But in the end, he went for the spike. Drew blocked the spike and hit him with the future shock to get the 3 count and retain his world title. The two didn't really mesh that well for me in the match. I wasn't expecting much really, but the match didn't. It was a 5 out of 10 maybe half par. Didn't stink the building out, but wasn't the best match. We seen Maria backstage bragging about how about her knockouts division and. How she's going to mold the knockouts in her image or whatever. We had Beer Money backstage wondering about the Valley of Shadows match, about what was going to take place and what the match actually was. Maria enters the ring and says she's making the division in her image, and Gail Kim interrupts her to defend the division's honor, I guess you could say, and to blame Maria for Decay capturing her. Maria then in turn makes a match between Gail Kim and Rosemary. Rosemary comes out. The match begins. I actually think for TNA this is Rosemary's in-ring debut. I think this is her first match in TNA. In the middle of the match, I liked the flip-flop pins, the fish out of water into the surfboard submission, the working hold. That was pretty cool. It was actually a pretty decent match for me. Maria distracts Gail, and Rosemary wins via an F5. I mean, she's not Brock Lesnar, she's not going to be able to spin him 3 times or whatever. But she pulled off a nice looking F5, so that was really cool to see by a women's wrestler. Rosemary gets the win, which I definitely very much approve of, because I'm a big Decay fan. I give the match about a 6.5 of 10. Eli Drake's Fact of Life debuts. He talks about the dummies. He mentions Jeff Hardy being a dummy for taking the big the stair risk, the high spot in the I Quit match, and he mentions Drew Galloway being a dummy. His first guests are the Bromans, Robbie E and Jesse Goddard. I love the dummy button. And the show was actually really entertaining. I'm looking forward to future episodes. Maybe could have had some better first guests, but anyways, it ended with an exchange of words and the Bromans clotheslining Eli Drake out of the ring or running him out of the ring or whatever. And they ended up smashing the dummy button on him, so it was kind of cool. I look forward to seeing future episodes. Really entertaining. Next match on the card was Beer Money versus Decay for the, it was a Valley of the Shadows match. I guess it's just a fancy name, the Decay's name for a hardcore match or whatever. It was for the tag team titles as well. Excuse me. Dim lighting throughout the match, I thought that was cool. Seeing how it is Decay's match. Great use of all variations, all different types of weapons. I always like to see that in a hardcore match or in a brutal type match, a brutal stipulation match. I always like to see a lot of different kinds of weapon use, so they definitely got that to a T. Crazy Steve got suplexed on barbed wire. That's crazy. Anytime anybody takes a barbed wire bump, that's really crazy. Rosemary went to spit the mist in I think Bobby Roode's face, but she missed and hit Abyss. Then no, it was Storm. Then Storm in turn takes a drink of beer and spits it in her face and busts the beer bottle over Abyss's head. We had tons and tons of near falls in this match. Crazy Steve pushed James Storm off the top rope through the table to the floor, which looked very painful. Decay win via a choke slam on pile attacks to Bobby Roode from Abyss, and we have new tag team champions, which very much excites me. I know that Decay had the titles in their possession, but they weren't declared the champions. So now they're the actual tag team champions, and I'm much looking forward to their reign and how they do. I mean, I know they've been a team for a couple months now, but I'm a big fan, and I'm looking forward to them giving a shot. The match was about a 7 out of 10. It was a fairly decent match. Backstage, Bram tells EY that it stops tonight. All Eric Young's, I don't know if you could just generalize his madness. I don't know if you could say that, but his turning on Bram ends tonight, which it did. See my previous video, or for a spoiler if you haven't seen. Mike Bennett backstage says he will end the streak of EC3 tonight. Eric Young versus Bram is the next match for the King of the Mountain title. Eric Young hit Bram's brightest side of suffering on him, Move Thief, on a trash can lid. In the end, though, the match was really technical, really brutal match. Not as brutal as the tag match, but it was a hard match. It was a hardcore match. Bram reversed the apron piledriver through the table that EY is known for, and actually hit him with a broader side of suffering off the apron through the table to get the 3 count and the win. A really cool way to win. I like that. I've always been a big fan of Edge's execution. I guess the broader side of suffering is Bram's version of that. So, match was about a 6 of 10. It was actually a pretty decent match. I'd like to see Bram finally get a good strap on him too. Backstage, Drew Galloway calls out Lashley for next week. Next in-ring segment, we have Jeff Hardy entering to talk about the I Quit match. In turn, he ends up getting interrupted by Rebby Hardy, and Spud. The fans are chanting, "Please shut up," at Rebby. That was really funny to me. Rebby actually spits on Jeff and slaps him in the face. Tries to smack him in the face again, and Jeff catches it. Spud goes for the attack and ends up getting the twist. Jeff hits the twist of fate on him, and that's the end of that segment. I guess just you gotta have Jeff Hardy show up on Sacrifice, even if it's not even in a match, you know. Next match was the main event of the evening, and it did not disappoint me at all. Mike Bennett versus EC3. No disqualification, no count out. Pinfall or submission, there must be a winner in this match. We've seen all kinds of cool moves in this match. I like Mike Bennett's cutter. It's reminiscent of not really reminiscent, but it kind of looks like the RKO, but I don't know, it just looks harder to me, you know. It's more like the diamond cutter. I like Bennett's cutter. The chairs come into play awful lot in this match. EC3 hits the 1%er, but Maria ends up breaking the count. Like I said, no DQ. There's got to be a winner. EC3, at the end of the match, he went for, I guess you can still call it the Cobra Clutch. But Mike Bennett ran up the turnbuckle ropes and flipped back on him and rolled back and had EC3's shoulders down for the first time in 3 years for a 3 count. Mike Bennett breaks the undefeated one-on-one pin streak of EC3, which is something fresh, something exciting to happen. I was just I was just waiting for that streak to get broken. The match was at least a 7 of a 10. It was a really good match. And overall, this year's TNA Sacrifice event was really good to me. So, like I said in the middle of this review, there's an Eric Young spoiler. If you do not already know, check my very previous video. If you guys enjoyed this review, if you enjoy any of my videos, super kick that subscribe button for me, super kick that like button for me, share it to your Facebook, Twitter, anything else so maybe another wrestling fan can catch wind of it. I'm going to get on out of here, you guys. Peace out. Be safe.